Okay, so this is a tutorial on how to make the 5,000 kilometer downrange rocket in RP-1. We are not in the vehicle assembly building, we are in the technology overview, and that is important because for 5,000 kilometers, 5 megameters, you can do it on various technologies. One of the most important ones is post-war material science, because it lets you upgrade the tanks, which is a key upgrade for this specific design. You also probably want to go with post-war rocketry, not just because it lets you upgrade your first stage engine, but also because it lets you upgrade the Bs. Early rocketry, same story. Early material science gives you stringer tanks, which are another big upgrade, and basic rocketry gives you the XLR-43, the convict of the first Atlas engine, which is essentially a way to make this contract trivial. What tech level you go with depends on various factors. Something to note here is that it doesn't matter how fast you're doing this 5 megameter contract if you are also doing the advanced bio contract, where you launch this capsule and do the other suborbital program first. If you are rushing the 5 megameter program, the bare minimum tech would be just aluminium tanks and then an engine of your picking, right? For this one, we're gonna just unlock this text to give us some options in the VAB to show what you can do. This is the maximum what you need. This is not the minimum. This is at most what you need for this contract. Okay, let's go to the VAB. This is a rocket that you need at least 2 stages for. You need a guided first stage because the contract requires it, and for the second stage you usually are best suited with just an aero beam. What we could do is we could take our sounding rocket that we just made and change it, but let's just make a new one. The first one is you want a science core on top, and let's just make this a smooth cone design so that it's nice and round. Or what we can do is we can just put a cylinder. Let's go with around 500 millimeters for this upper stage. It can have a little bit of VC, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna put a nose cone on top, or just a procedural tank. It doesn't really matter. And this needs to be HP, it needs to be high pressure, because we need sounding payload. Because the contract, and this is something that you always forget, you need 50 sounding payload. Let's put a smooth cone. The bottom is 0.5 and it needs around 50, so we need a little bit more. Alright, so this is 50 sounding payload, so this is what needs to go at least 5,000 kilometers far. There are different ways to do this contract. What you usually want to do is you want to put a B. We'll change the shape of this later. You need a decoupler, and then you need a different avionics with guidance, and then you need a fuel tank again, and then an engine, and it depends on how fast or how far you want to go. There are some engines in which this setup, ignore the shape for now, will fly. If you use the XLR-43 or you use aluminium stringer tanks, this will do on 2 stages. What you need to do if you are going with less tech than that is you probably need to do 2 stage Bs, right? So you need 1 B and then another one. For now, let's keep this easy, and we're just gonna pretend, okay, we are going with stringer tanks, right? Stringer tanks, they are better, they're gonna give us more delta V. And let's just go with a 1.5 meter diameter bottom tank, and this is gonna be for our first stage. For the top one, we had a diameter of 0.5, and let's just give this some fuel. Remember, we have stringer upgrades for this design, and we're not going to be using the WAC Corporal. We're going to use the AJ1027 because this is on early rocketry, as you can see in the needs overview. We could upgrade this payload tank too, but it doesn't matter, right? This is not a very strict design, it's gonna be fine. Okay, so, and we need, of course, a launch clamp so that the engine can ignite. Let's fix our staging a little bit. For the staging, remember, we're gonna hot stage, so you want to put the ROB and then the decoupler. The decoupler itself, right, it's not gonna look like this. For our second stage, let's put a shroud on this. So if we, oh, this is a little bit too big. If we just go with the L shroud and then make it a little bit longer, it's gonna fit nice around the engine so that it is gonna stay somewhat aerodynamic. For this one, it also needs to be the same diameter. It doesn't need to be this high. We can make it as short as it will go. And then we need our avionics. For our avionics, let's go with a cone. The top one, we just decided it was 0.5 millimeter. The bottom one, let's go with 1, and then it needs control, let's say around 15 tons. Oh, needs to be a little bit longer. Yeah, that's fine. We can make it work like this. It doesn't need 25,000 EC. Let's just go with 200. It's gonna be fine. Okay, and then for our modular tank, you want to put a nose cone. What's nice about the modular tanks is they can have their own taper. So let's go with a 3-to-2 long one. Now for the bottom, we can put a boat tail one there, and that's just gonna make it just look a little bit nicer. Our first stage, right now is at 52 seconds. That's a little bit short. It can go burn 65, but you can burn longer than that. If you look at this engine, then it also has a tested burn time of 121 seconds. You do not want to go past that, and also if you do burn that long, it's probably gonna fail, but you can burn it a little bit longer than 65 seconds. For now, let's go with the end mass. Let's go with let's start mass there, so we can see what we're dealing with. We decided to go with 15 tons, so this one needs to be a little bit less, or we can go with 16. Let's go with 16. So this will work nicely. Let's fill this tank. This one, oh wait, this shouldn't be a high pressure tank. This should be a regular tank. That's why it went wrong. Okay, and then yeah, this should be fine. It's a little bit shorter, so that it's 16 tons. We have almost 7 kilometers per second of delta V, but this one has a quite high sea level thrust, so it's probably gonna be fine. Notice that we do not have fins on this. That's because this engine has control, and this engine is gonna be spun up. We'll show what that looks like. So let's simulate this. I'll just manually go to the morning. So for this design, it is gonna go on classic ascent because it is a downrange rocket. It is suborbital, so classic ascent is the way to go. So we want to edit our ascent path. It's on automatic now. We don't need that. These two top ones, they just decide how long you're gonna go vertical for before you turn over. Our turn altitude is not gonna be 40 kilometers. We're not gonna get there. Our final flight path angle is around 35 degrees, and the turn shape 40%. That's all good. The flight path angle, you could make this a little bit lower. You could make it like 30. Ideally, you want to go slightly under 30 when you finish burning, but of course you do not have control over the burn when the second stage happens, so it's gonna slowly dip down. So let's go with 35. Make sure this orbit altitude thing is high enough, else it will shut down the engine, and the orbital inclination is whatever your current inclination is, so it launches due east. We might need to change another setting, the ascent settings here. And what you need is you want to support hot staging so that the second engine, it will ignite here, stage 1, and then it will decouple. The ROBs have quite a short spool up time, so we only need like half a second. That's going to be fine. All the other stats, they don't really matter for now. So let's engage the autopilot and ignite. There are things we haven't optimized about this design. We have radios on both the avionics, which is not needed, but also we don't have any experiments in them. The shape of this final design, you see that this sort of avionics package is quite long. What you can do is you can make this one a little bit wider, right? The second stage can be wider so that the rockets end up shorter. But this type of modular tank interface where it tapers, that's a real nice way to have it be good looking, aerodynamic, and so that it doesn't look like a series of sausages, which is some designs that you'll sometimes see from people still learning the game. Okay, so if you tap Q or E, you find that the rocket is able to roll. Not all engines are able to roll, but the one we are using now is able to roll. If you're using an engine that can't roll, you need to put some solids on here to spin it up. But we don't have to deal with that. We can just hold E. This one has quite high thrust, so what you can do is when the burn time on this stage is like 5 seconds left, you just hold the E, it will spin up and it will make sure that the second stage is stable. So we're just gonna hold E now, and then the hot staging is gonna happen. The second stage is gonna fire, and then it's gonna decouple. And this will, if everything goes well, just keep on flying on the right trajectory. You can barely make out our flight angle. And if this goes too high, right, and not shallow enough, then you need to change some of these settings. As you can see, you're going a little bit higher than what we were originally wanting to go with, but that's fine. This one has enough performance to go far enough. If you, of course, we're using aluminium stringer tanks. If you want to do this on regular aluminium tanks, what you'll need to do is you'll need to add another B, right? So we have one B, but what you want to use for a more caveman-ish design is to just use an extra stage, and that will have enough performance, making it slightly more complex. But yeah, if you want to rush this contract, that's the way to go. If you're doing the other suborbital program first, there is no need to rush this program. You can do this with this design. You can use the XLR 43, right, on basic rocketry, and that'll make it even more trivial. Now, let's see how far we're going. We can look at our orbit info. We see our apoapse is considerably above a megameter, which is at this angle probably going to be fine. We might even hit 6,000 kilometers this way. So let's see how far we're going. Oh, time warp did not kill our rocket. Important thing for our downrange distance is what matters is not this, but the, where are the ascent stats? Here, the ascent stats. This is the downrange distance that matters. Do not believe the stats you'll find once the game over screen shows. Right, this is what matters. This one makes 5,000 kilometers easily. Right, we're 650 kilometers over, and of course, what matters is what survives is your avionics and your 50 sounding payload. Right, the rest of the rocket can burn up. If you barely make it, there's issues. This one, it could fly further if we make its path a little bit more shallow, but there are also other things to optimize here. This sort of design, you could always improve it. There's always something to improve, right? But does it really matter? Because you're probably not going to be in a rush for this contract specifically. But this is the design, simple design. It will fly, it will work, it will have no big issues.